Welcome to your Joyful Riches podcast, where you gain precious tips for easily ignite your full spectrum wealthy and happy and healthy life. Join us every Saturday at 8:30 a.m. Pacific with your friends and families because we all want and deserve to be happy, healthy, and wealthy. This podcast is powered by Anchor FM by Spotify and done alongside G100 Global Networking. Anchor FM is the super awesome free podcast made easy platform. And for this week, we are so honored and so thrilled to welcome Priscilla with us. Priscilla, would you mind tell us what is it that you do?
Hi there, Birgitte. Thank you very much for having me on today, and welcome from a quite chilly South Africa. We are in the throes of our winter at the moment. We've had some snow on the mountains, so we're a little bit cold here compared to where you are.
Yeah.
My name is Priscilla and I'm from Durban, South Africa, and I am a psychic medium, which is quite an unusual career path.
I must say a psychic medium I that is not the most common one. I mean so what brings you to become a psychic medium? I mean most kids right, that I know, wake up and say, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a fireman, not I want to be a psychic medium. What brings you to become a psychic medium?
Well, I think it was years and years in the making. From a very young age, I had the ability and capacity to understand people. And strangely enough, in that movie Sixth Sense, I could see dead people, or I could communicate with spirit or understand when somebody was going to pass away or if somebody had passed away, things like that. So it was many years in the making. And when you're growing up as a teenager, you don't really want to be mixing with that kind of thing because it's not cool. But when I got into my 20s, I moved from South Africa to the UK, and suddenly the floodgates opened and I couldn't put the genie back in the bottle. And so I had to do something about it. So I started to really step into my own abilities. And I haven't looked back since, and that's over 35 years ago.
Wow, that is quite amazing that you are able to actually, so it's an innate ability, you're born with it, that you are able
Yeah.
to see like, well, I guess you said in your word, to see dead people. And does that scare you? That sometimes, I mean, this come from a very layperson questions, but does that scare you? Do they actually look like people, or that you're like, oh, and what if it's somebody who passed in a traumatic way? Is that
well? Yeah, you see, I get that quite a lot. I've never not known that I've had this ability. So for me, it's not something that I'm scared of or afraid of, because it's part of me. It's part of breathing and part of seeing and things like that. It's one of my senses. So I've had it my entire life. So it's not something that, you wake up one day and you go, oh my goodness, this has happened. It's all just been a natural part of who I am as a person.
Mm-hmm.
So I was never afraid of it. Sometimes I get to see a glimpse of somebody, or I can, in one way, I get a audience or a clairsentient feeling where we are able to connect with the person, and they give us a message, or it's like having another voice in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Or they'll give me a description of how they look. If I just look at it as if it's a movie in my head, I can see an image of what they looked like, or how they were dressed, or what they were wearing, or what happened in the situation around their passing, things like that. So it's like putting on a little movie and just picking out pieces, because sometimes it's not just the middle, beginning and middle and end. They give me little snippets, and I've got to put together and make the movie.
Interesting.
So that the person I'm talking to is able to understand.
Oh wow, that is very interesting. So you kind of like, like you said, it's a little in this case, you are almost like able to go back in time in a way, in a metaphysical way, and visit and say, okay, what is in the movie recording of the, basically you tap into the movie recording of the universe
Yes,
and you see
exactly.
movie clips. How interesting, how interesting. That is so fascinating. And so which what I am hearing, then you are able to, let's say there is a mysterious passing or something, then you might be able to say, oh, okay, this is what happened here and that's what happened here, if you got the right movie clips. But you don't always have the whole picture though. It's not
And
like actually
sometimes
putting a movie in with you.
that's right. Sometimes I don't have the entire picture, so I don't get the feature film. I get the edited highlights.
Ah, okay. The highlights. That is so interesting. That's so interesting. Now, is there some way that, so when you do that, is that something that you can benefit or you can utilize to help people who are here still in a physical form to be guided?
Mm. A lot of people come to see me when they are going through grief, and you deal in grief yourself, so you understand
Yeah.
the the complicatedness of grief.
Mm-hmm.
And they normally come to me when they are still in the stages of grief. I never see them at the very beginning of the grief, and I'd spoken to you about that. And I said, always let them wait to go through the process of grief before they come and see me,
Mm-hmm.
so that they can have closure and not clarification. So they're needing the closure. So for me, I feel I'm able to then help them put their mind at peace, connect with their loved one, because they always want to know, are they okay? Are they on the other side? What are they doing? Are they in any pain? And then if it's been something with them passing in a traumatic way, how did it happen? Did they feel any pain? Were they alone? So it's all these very important questions that they want closure with, so
Yeah.
that they know. And there's always something that the person on the other side will give them that is just uniquely for them. So that's okay, this is the person I'm talking to, because everybody could say, oh, but you're just pulling that out of your thumb. You want to just make everybody feel good. But they give me something that's tangible that I wouldn't know about person or the person that I'm reading for. So that it gives them that clarification. Yes, this is the person I'm connecting with in the way that they need to get the answers over. I
Wow.
remember doing a reading for somebody, and the gentleman had passed away, and the son was sitting in front of me, and I said to him, your dad heard you. And he said, but I wasn't there. I didn't make it home for his passing. I said, but you were. He heard you in the sky. You were in the airplane, and he heard you talking to him. And I still said a few words of what he had said. And he couldn't believe it. He said, no, he had not told anybody that he'd been praying for his father on the plane while he was trying to get to him.
Wow.
So
That's
small little things like that just say to him, okay, I heard you. You weren't there to hold my hand as I left this world, but I'm there to give you the closure that you need, because I did hear you.
Wow, that just gives me chill. That is so powerful and so amazing. And the specificity, like you say, is very important, because otherwise people said, you're just making that up to make me feel better.
Yes.
That is so amazing. That is so powerful to be able to connect. And as you said, it's just to allow people to have a closure. And that's just beautiful. Now, you said you are a psychic medium. That sounds more like a medium work. So tell us more. To be honest, I back in the day, I'm a little bit more aware nowadays. But to be honest, back in the day, when I thought about psychic, I would think about those you know,
The
uh,
gypsies
what's that? What's that?
the gypsies in the caravan. with the big loop earrings and the little hair.
Well, that is one thing, and then the things of like here, at least in the US, it's sometimes you see it on like advertisement in newspaper. Call this 800 number and you pay $3 per minute, and you're like, what balloon is this?
Yeah.
Actually, that was at least always my thing. Is I was like, what the, what a balloon is this? But and that was my before I understand even anything about energy. So in terms of the psychic work, what does it look like? Do you actually read people's future?
Yes. So what my psychic abilities allow me to do is also then to tap into the person. So if they're not coming for a grieving process or a crossing over, as we call it, or the mediumship, and they're just coming for a reading, I can give them what's happened in their past, what's happening in their present, and what they're going to be doing in their future. And I always give them two options because, if we come to a T junction, we can either go left or right, or we could stay where we are, but there's always options. So, if I say, if you do this, this is what's going to happen, or if you do that, that's what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, it's your choice which path you're going to follow because it's your life. But I try and give them as much guidance as I need to allow them to make the proper choices for themselves.
That is interesting. So it's kind of like give them, okay, if you do this, this is what's gonna happen. If you do that, this is what's gonna happen, and that is wonderful. And it does give people a guidance. And how do you find how much of personality influence that do you find?
I try and stay very neutral. It's kind of like I said, it pays to be a Gemini because I'm two people. And so when I step into my psychic medium hat, I'm a different person and I just deal with it as a psychic medium. I don't bring any personal energies into it or personal opinions because my opinion might not be exactly what is right for that person. But it's not for me to decide. It's actually for them to learn, in a sense. So it's important for them to be able to have a fair and unbiased opinion psychically. So I try not to let my own personal things influence me. And that includes reading for friends and family and things like that. I go into a different kind of what would call zone, psychic zone. And I just, I open my mouth and whatever comes out in whatever shape and form it has to come out. And then sometimes I say to myself, oh, wow, I must write that down. That's pretty good, that little nugget of information. I might keep that for myself.
Yeah, like it's basically like I think like some of us, and I wonder if this is something that an escalated level of like intuitions to a degree. Because some people has very trained, and then intuitions at least something you can train. Back in even 15 years ago, I couldn't. I was so much in back to what you said after somebody passing. If you so much rattle with yourself, you can't hear a thing, and as you become more centered, you can listen to guidance, so to say, on your own. That is so interesting where you can do that. And from you said, sometimes you hear a message, you're like, that is so good. And so is there certain thing in your experience working as a medium and working as a psychic? Do you have one or two tips for our audience on navigating this life, on creating a joyfully rich, full spectrum rich life?
Yeah. For me, the most important thing about life is to trust your instincts. So many people today have lost touch of who they are and lost touch of their instincts, their gut feeling. It's that gut feeling. And I feel as if we've been made to put blinkers on. So we're not allowed to think or feel or believe or go in a certain direction. And yet everything within our being and our cells are telling us, no, this is not the path for us, but we get pulled into it. And so it's about standing your ground and listening to your intuition, because we're all born with intuition.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's only when we actually start to go to school and get disciplined to put the blinkers on that we then lose that intuition and that ability to really trust our gut feelings. Because now we get programmed to, this has got to be done like this, and that's got to be done like that, and 1 + 1 is 2, and things like that. So for me, it's about really trusting in your instincts. And then also it's about taking it and really allowing it to drive you forward. And especially over the last couple of years with everything that's gone on, you know, they really have been, you know, putting those blinkers on and really covering our eyes in a sense, and covering our mouths to stop us from expressing ourselves and seeing the truth for what it is and believing in who we are and standing in our truth. Because, you know, only we think our thoughts and only we feel our feelings. Nobody thinks and feels them for us but ourselves. So we take a split second, whether we choose to accept what somebody's saying or doing to us, we choose to accept it or we don't. So it's about knowing that we have the right to say no to anything that's not serving our highest good.
Well, that is beautiful and so very true. There are so many times people have so many opinions, like you said, it's, you know, people were born in one way and then we got fat, whatever, that's everybody else is have their own opinion about. And when you are able to return to listen to, now if people say, okay, well, I want to listen to my gut instinct, but I don't even know how anymore.
And we're scared. We're scared to go there because it's a place it's like going in the basement. You know, it's like, well, it's not a nice place to go to. It's like going in the basement with all the the spiders and cobwebs. For me, the most important thing is to sit in meditation and quiet contemplation and connect with yourself. So even if it's just sitting for 5 to 10 minutes every day and just breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth and just listening to yourself, to your breathing, to your body, even to the noises and sounds around you, like you can hear the car out on the road or the bird or the dog is barking or whatever sounds, and then you filter them out and then you just bring yourself within yourself. And the more you do that, and it doesn't have to be for hours on end and doing Om chanting and things like that. It can just be for 5 minutes.
Right.
Because a lot of people say, I can't meditate. I can't, that's fine. You don't have to meditate. It's about sitting in silence, sitting with yourself and really listening to who you are as a person. Get to know yourself again, because we've lost who we are. So we've lost who we are as people. And so we need to really get to know each other again and get to know ourselves. And by doing that, it's about going within. And by doing that, you have to meditate or sit in quiet contemplation. Even first thing in the morning when you wake up, before you roll out of bed or grab your phone to do your WhatsApp messages and Facebook and things like that, just sit for 5 minutes and just bring in the day.
Yeah.
Listen to your body. Oh, I've got a little bit of aches and pains, or, stretch the muscles, or just listen. What is my day going to hold for me? And just put positive affirmations. We've got that wonderful woman, Louise Hay, that spent most of her life talking about positive affirmations. And it's true. If we bring positive affirmations into our lives, they start to then filter into our soul.
Right. That's beautiful. Wake up 5 minutes early or even 3 minutes early and just be there instead of, grabbing your phone and start looking at things immediately.
Yeah. Because we all do that. We roll over and we pick up our phones. And so it's just lying there for a minute, just bringing yourself into the waking world and just breathe and just, put out positive affirmations for the day.
Yeah.
And if things are not going right, just stop for a moment. If you're in the middle of the day and everything is going hectic and you're just like, I can't do this anymore, just stop for a moment and just breathe.
Yeah.
Just give yourself a minute, take a walk outside or just go and sit somewhere. Or even if you're at the office, just put your head on your desk for 2 minutes and just be with yourself.
That is so true. I part of the grief work that I do to help people calm down, actually, because a lot of times they're so in such a state when they're early in the grief work. It's actually literally just noticing your breathing. I was like, you could even be in the bathroom, just notice your breathing. Just notice your breathing while you are sitting or standing by the toilet, and then a lot of people's like, wow, it made me feel calmer immediately, after doing that just a couple of times. And I was like, yeah, and see, you can do that as you brush your teeth in the bathroom. It's like it's a mindfulness on being able to do that, and whether you are stressed from work or you're grieving or what have you're doing. So that is so wonderful. Now I know you are so this work, being a psychic and a medium, is it something that you are able to do remotely? You don't have to be right sitting in front of the person physically.
No, I don't. With everything that's happened over the last 2 years, my work has all gone online and gone remote. I do still see people in person, but sometimes it's far to travel to Durban, South Africa. And I have clients all over the world. So I have clients in the US and the UK, Australia, Europe, everywhere. I've even got people in Peru, all over the place. So it doesn't matter. Spirit is universal, and it doesn't matter where you are. They'll all connect, no matter where they are. So I don't have to be physically with the person. I can do it over WhatsApp. I can do it over Skype or Zoom, whatever is convenient for the person. I like to sometimes see the person, but I don't have to. If I can just hear them, that's fine. It just helps me to get a nice connection with them.
Wow. And so how do people reach you? How do people find you if they want to connect, whether, with someone who has passed with your mediumship or have guidance about possible future? How do people reach you?
Or they can reach me by telephone, or they can actually reach me on Facebook. I'm Psychic Medium Priscilla Gendron, and I'm on Facebook. I'm the only one with that name on Facebook, so you can't miss me.
Okay, so they can reach you on Facebook, Priscilla Grandin. I know you are on LinkedIn, so they can connect. Yeah, they can connect with you on LinkedIn as well. I actually can't even remember how we connected on LinkedIn, but I'm sure glad that we connect. That you so you can reach Priscilla on LinkedIn and on Facebook, and then it is something that she can do remotely for you if this is something that you feel can benefit you. So that is so beautiful. And as we close our conversations today, do you have a final message for our audience who are still walking in this physical world?
I feel like we've all just been so caught up in all the drama of the world that we have forgotten to just be ourselves. And we've allowed a lot of fear to creep into our lives. And so the message for the world is to just be gentle with yourself, be gentle with your loved ones, and allow yourself to breathe. As plain and simple as that. Be gentle and breathe.
Be gentle
and generous. Yeah, and be generous, and generous with your time and generous with your energy, and just allow people to see the real you.
That is beautiful. That's beautiful. Be gentle and breathe, and be generous and be you. And instead of trying to follow whatever social media is saying, or the TV or what have you saying, the media on all different things. That is so beautiful. Connect back to yourself, which is what you said earlier. Connect back.
That's it. Because if you can't be happy with who you are, you can't expect anybody else to be happy with you, or want to, or enjoy your energy. If you can't enjoy your own energy and be a true, authentic person, then it's going to make life very, very difficult. So it's about be truthful and honest, and and generous of spirit.
Oh, that is so beautiful. That's so beautiful. Thank you so much, Priscilla. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your tips today. Wonderful, precious tips. And thank for you, my friend, who are listening to this. Please share one or two gold nuggets in the comments so we can continue learning from each other. And thank you for joining us. Please share this podcast with your friends and families so they too can have peace of mind and triumph. And this is Dr. Birgitte, your grief transformation specialist for individual and businesses, founder of the International Childhood Cancer Charity, United States country chair for G100 Global Networking All Ladies League. And you, please make it a thriving life, a thriving day, my friend. And we will see you again next week, Saturday at 8:30 a.m., same place.